Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's our turn. Mr. Moore and I have been waiting for a long while to be at this point. I was going to say it's been a week, but it's been longer than a week. It's been years. Our client, Zach Hughes, has been waiting for a lot longer than that. He's been waiting over 3 years, some 3 years and 3 months. As Mr. Mormon told you at the outset of this case, we are honored and privileged to be representing Zach. You're going to hear about Zach in the next day or two. You're going to hear that he's a very gifted and accomplished young man. He is 32 years old now. He was 29 when this happened. He's from a wonderful family. You've probably seen them seated back here in the courtroom throughout this trial so far. You're going to hear a little bit about his life. He was born in California. When he was still a boy, his parents took Zach and his brother, moved him to southwestern Virginia, where they moved into a small farm, and then they took on 5 orphan children who lived there with them. And you can hear that Zach was homeschooled. He learned the value of hard work and discipline as he grew up around the family farm. He helped his young siblings. His family moved to Greenville when Zach was a teenager. In Greenville, he finished high school, being homeschooled still, and you'll hear that his hard work and his discipline paid off, and he was accepted into a very fine college with scholarships. He went on where he studied music, and he won piano competitions. His emphasis was on piano performance. As an adult, Zach has had an accomplished career performing classical music and even recording classical music. So this is the time now for our case and for Zach to testify. But understand, ladies and gentlemen, that we have no obligation under the law or the Constitution to be doing this. This case actually could be over when the state rested. The state has the burden of proof of proving this case in every element of every charge beyond a reasonable doubt. We would not have to put up anybody. Zach wouldn't have to testify. We wouldn't have to put up any witnesses. In fact, if Zach were not here, his honor would instruct you that you couldn't use that against him. But we are going to do so. And Zach is going to testify because Zach has been waiting for this opportunity to tell a group of people like you what really happened, which is that he took the life of Christina Parcell. And crucially, he's been waiting and wanting to tell you why. Now, the why to a case like this is very important because it goes to the heart of the matter, and that is malice. Okay, malice is what makes a homicide a murder. And we heard from that from the prosecution's opening, as you recall. The prosecution said that Zach was mad. They said he had an angry heart, that he wanted to inject himself into this custody dispute of somebody he knew. But that's not why it happened. And that is not what you were going to hear about why this happened. Now, as we turn to our case now, it's important to realize that we could have handled this case extremely differently. Okay? We could have attacked the sufficiency of the state's case. We could have brought in an expert to talk about the DNA. Okay? We didn't do that. We could have challenged the identification evidence. And I want you to consider the professional from law enforcement, from the state law enforcement division, who testified about the enhancement that they did on the videos and the photographs, and how they were able to use this fancy technology to enhance and to account for the differences between sunlight and shadow and the distance. And after all of that, and after all of the technical work that was done, the conclusion was that the guy on the bicycle was 6'5", a big guy like him. Well, as you probably noticed, and as you will see, Zach is shorter than I am. On a good day, I'm 10 foot. I'm 6 foot, 5 foot 10 inches. Okay, he's shorter than I am. Consider the other professional. There's one who spent a great deal of time looking at the enhancement of the person on the bicycle. And after all that time, what was that conclusion? That this person had a beard. It has to be a man. And they enlarged it, and they used, again, all of that technical information to take a look at it. This guy had a beard. This is before they had any suspects. Well, what do we know about Zach and what we learn about Zach? He was clean shaven. We know that from a couple of days prior, and we know that from a couple of days after. We could have attacked that. We could have attacked the identification from the neighbor. As you remember, a neighbor, after 3 years, came into court. And all of a sudden, after 3 years, was able to identify the man whose picture had been on television for the past 3 years. Had never told anybody even that she could identify somebody. And this was somewhere between 8 and 8:15 in the morning. And what you're going to find, ladies and gentlemen, is that couldn't have happened because the person on that bicycle was not even in that neighborhood for at least an hour to an hour and 15 minutes later. But we didn't attack that. We could have done that, and we could have made mountains of objections throughout this trial. And as you heard, we made very few, and we did not do it. And why is that? Because Zach wants to take the stand and tell you what happened. Now, the prosecution has told you that they will prove this malice in this case by showing you that Zach was mad, that he was angry. And malice is a key part of this case because malice is the very essence of the definition of murder. Okay? So what is murder? Murder is the killing of somebody with malice aforethought. And what is malice? The prosecution told you it's anger, that is madness, and that is a component of it. The definition, though, it is the killing of a person without just cause or excuse. The intentional doing of a wrongful act without just cause or excuse. And I want you to think about those words, that definition, as you listen to the testimony that you're about to hear in this case. The why to the homicide is very important because it gives insight into the person's heart. In this case, you are going to hear that the why was not jealousy or greed or a crime of passion or some other emotion. You're going to hear that Zach did not act like an angry heart like the prosecutor conjectured. You're going to hear that this was not done for money or any other personal gain or benefit, not to help out any kind of friend. You're going to hear that this was done for a just cause. And that's not malice, and that's not murder. Thank you.